Hey everybody, welcome into the GPRS Marketing Studio. I'm your host Blake. I'm joined today by Nate Baker, our service line leader for 3D laser scanning. Nate, thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So we're going to start with your GPRS origin story. So how long have you been here? How'd you get started with us? Tell me the Nate Baker story.
Sure. Yeah, I came over to GPRS during the TruePoint laser scanning acquisition in June of 2022. So I've been with the company now just over a year. Before that, I was with TruePoint for about 7 years.
So a lot of experience obviously on the 3D laser side. What brought you to TruePoint originally, and why 3D laser scanning? Why was that the way that your path went?
Yeah, I was living in the Northeast region. I was living in Brooklyn, and I have a childhood friend that works for the company, does the web marketing for GPRS. So he introduced me to TruePoint. He was working for TruePoint and GPRS, and they were looking to expand into the Northeast. So I started in the field, collecting data, doing sales, kind of a bit of everything for TruePoint.
So I know 3D laser scanning encompasses a lot of stuff, but in layman terms, break it down for us. What is this service line for GPRS?
Sure. So 3D scanning in its simplest terms is the collection of real-world data using a 3D scanner, and then the conversion of that data into 3D models or 2D as-built drawings.
So why is that something that the construction industry, the entertainment industry, why would they care about that? Why is that useful?
Sure. It could be for a number of reasons. Either there's a complete lack of plans, or existing plans are outdated, or you can get into the verification of work that's been done on the job site in real time so that they can check their contractors.
And in terms of the client for this, as I just mentioned, there's a broad kind of swath of this, right? Because we've got video playing behind us of you actually at Gillette Stadium. Not a Patriots fan myself, but we did a lot of work for them. We do a lot of work in stadiums, entertainment industry, but we're also in your typical construction site as well, right?
Right.
So I mean, what's the biggest difference in terms of, kind of those two worlds, the entertainment and the construction, when it comes to 3D laser?
I mean, there's a lot of applications that can be utilized across the entire AEC industry. For the NFL stadiums, we've done more than a dozen of those. A lot of times that's for virtual reality experiences or augmented reality experiences. So we're scanning the entire stadium and making a 3D model where VR people can plan for their effects and have a scalable profile of that stadium. You can do the same thing in the construction industry, from checking floor heights to column grids, renovations for walls, windows, and doors, mechanical system routing. I mean, the applications for 3D scanning are quite broad.
Right, and you obviously were with TruePoint before coming to GPRS for quite a few years. I'm sure you've seen a lot of advancement in the technology in that time. Mm-hmm. What do you think has been the biggest advancement you've seen over that time?
Yeah, good question. I mean, as is the case with all technologies, hardwares, firmwares, and softwares, there are updates to make things quicker, more streamlined. So when I started over 7 years ago, we were using targeted registration, which means we had to have targets in every one of our scans, commonly tied together. That's gone away, and the scan duration time has gone from 6.5 minutes down to 51 seconds. So we're moving through sites and collecting data much more quickly and efficiently these days compared to when I started. And then on the back end, there are efficiencies with tying the data together. But at the end of the day, it's really about achieving that accuracy tolerance. About 2 to 4 millimeters is what we can accomplish on sites, and making sure that the data is that accurate and all subsequent 3D models and 2D drawings are that accurate.
So we don't make any bones about the fact that you can go out if you want and you can buy the equipment we use for most of our service lines.
Sure.
Obviously, depending on the service line you're talking about, the price is different. But that's, only half the equation, maybe even less of what we do, right? We talk about the GPRS difference is our people, our boots on the ground.
Right.
When it comes to 3D laser, what is it that makes our service line different than just going out and trying to do it yourself?
Yeah. It's really the efficiency that we have in collecting data on site and the accuracy that we can achieve on the back end with the data that we produce and with the 3D models and 2D drawings that we produce. So the manufacturers of the scanning equipment that we use and the firmware and the software, they're very good at what they do, and they're very good at presenting this equipment as sometimes single button operation, and then you move the tripod and you run your scan again. And that's great, but then what do you do on the back end once you've collected that data? Do you know how to unify it accurately? Do you know how to produce the files that are relatable and utilized across all of your different trades? And can you convert that data into an accurate 3D model or 2D drawings? Even if the answer to some or all of those questions are yes, I think the GPRS difference is that we have dozens of people in the field and we have dozens of people here at the office that are doing laser scanning projects day in and day out. So with that daily experience comes efficiencies and qualities of the deliverables that we create.
So when you were a field guy, I imagine you get to see some pretty cool places.
Sure.
What are some of the ones that have stuck with you through the years that you just remember standing there with that laser scanner going, wow, this is my job, this is what my office was for the day?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to have NFL stadiums to yourself. What we do, we work on active job sites all the time, but it's obviously more efficient if you have the site to yourself and you can reign free. So just having massive settings and being the only person there is a pretty cool experience. Of course, rooftop work in New York City, I did a lot of that in Philadelphia and Boston. Bumping up the scanner range settings and see how far out you can capture data from. Some of our scanners have almost kilometer range, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, the grass is always greener. So when I was in the field, I was dreaming of a time where I could be sleeping in my own bed every night and just get into the office. And now that I do contracts and training and a myriad of things for GPRS, but now I think back to my days on the road and working with other scan techs and doing long haul jobs where we were on site for 3 months, and at the end of that there's a real sense of accomplishment. So those are the things that I miss.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Nate, thanks so much for being here with me.
Sure, my pleasure.
If you guys want to learn more about our 3D laser scanning service line or any of our service lines, visit gprsinc.com.